Hey everybody, Brett here with the Indie Comic Dispatch. Got an advanced copy of Violete Backlash, and here are my thoughts. Now, Violete Backlash is currently on Kickstarter. It's funding right now. You can go over to Kickstarter, search of Violet. Violete is the spelling of this one. Go search it, and you can find it. It's actually the sequel. The first one's called Violet Unstoppable, both by Ed Jowette. So like I said, Ed sent me an advanced copy of Violete Backlash, which is Violet number 2 in the series. If you haven't yet read my review of Violet Unstoppable, it's on the blog now. You don't necessarily have to stop watching this to go read that, but I do want you to read it once this video is over with. Anyway, Violete Backlash. Violet Unstoppable was a really good, refreshing book. In all honesty, it's superhero genre. You know, it's the genre that everybody's doing right now. Some people doing it really well, some people doing okay, some people doing it not so well. But I really liked Violet. It was a refreshing take on a familiar story, and you know, Ed didn't allow the writing to get bogged down in origin story in the first issue. He just dove right in and started telling us the story of Violet. And it was really a really refreshing take. Violet is in the UK. She's the daughter of immigrants. Her powers are really unique. And her whole story is a really refreshing take on the superhero genre. That's why when Ed emailed me and said, hey, do you want an advanced copy of Violet 2 and to do a review on while we're still on Kickstarter, I said yes, because Violet 1 was really a really good, solid read, and I wanted to see if issue 2 lived up to issue 1. Spoiler alert, it does. So issue 2 again puts us face to face with Violet, kind of facing the consequences of what happened in issue 1, living into her new kind of attitude towards the world, and finding a friend. And that's an important part of issue 2. And I'm not going to give you any spoilers because I want you to go back and I want you to fund it on Kickstarter. But Violet does have a companion, so to speak, in issue 2. And again, it's a refreshing take on a familiar story. Again, in issue 2 here, Violet's a superhero, but she's really trying to parse through the world that she lives in and these powers that she's come upon. Again, we don't know how she got powers, but she has powers now. And the world around her is changing, and this causes her stress. This causes her to question her identity. This causes her to question her friendships, her family, and it's just a really complex weaving of emotion that Ed manages to put out kind of simply in his writing. And I love that it's written so simply, but it conveys such deep emotion at the same time. The only thing that it left me with questions, again, just like issue 1, but again, that's kind of cool about it. It's kind of refreshing that Ed's not putting it all out there to be answered in the first or second issue. Characters are introduced just like you would in real life. You meet somebody new, you don't know their whole backstory when you meet them, and so characters are kind of introduced in that same way in Violet. Violet encounters people, she meets people, and you don't get to know everything there is to know about them. Maybe it'll matter later, maybe it won't matter later, maybe this is just a person at this sliver of time in Violet's life, and that's all we need to know. But it's really cool, and it leaves you wondering about this world that Violet's in, these people that she's interacting with, but it's still written well with a nice conclusion at the end of each issue so far. I should say it concludes the issue nicely, but there's this overarching story that's still forming there about Violet and her world that goes issue to issue. So it's not this little self-contained story. The events of each issue, for the most part, wrap up, but there's things happening beyond the events of that issue in the story that are overarching and that leave you wanting more. Great job, Ed. If you guys haven't heard of Ed Jowette, or Violet Unstoppable was the first one, Violet Backlash is this one, go over to Kickstarter, look it up. It's a really good series so far. It's a really refreshing series of superheroes. If you're kind of getting superheroed out with kind of the tropes and the same old, check out Violet. I think you might be pleasantly surprised.